Aloha Manga Club, it's your boy Lohali signing in, and today we are joined by the one and only Sam's Side Quest. I'm really excited to have him on. He is a middle of America guy, kind of like myself, and that makes me
hmm
excited for these conversations because our idioms are very similar, which is great. So,
Yep, yep.
Sam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
It is my pleasure. You've been part of the MangaTube community for over a year now. You've been
Yeah,
making
yeah.
content. You have almost 4,000 subs. Like, that is absolutely crazy. But you've recently made a transition. But before we get from that transition, I want to know what got you into manga and anime.
Oh, so it's funny. I think as you know, my answer is pretty traditional. I grew up watching Toonami, so I loved Dragon Ball Z, Inuyasha. But I've noticed that when I think back on my childhood, I've always kind of had an affinity towards Japanese entertainment. Like I've always loved Nintendo games. So like whenever I had an option to buy a game, like Ocarina of Time was like the first game I bought on my N64. I loved Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and I even like would pick up like I picked up like a Yu Yu Hakusho Tactics game on my Game Boy. Like I've always, yeah, super random, but I've always kind of had an affinity towards Japanese entertainment. Dragon Ball Z was like the first anime that I was really big into, and then after that was Naruto, and then I kind of got into middle school, high school, and I realized the depths of anime, and so then the addiction kind of took off from there.
It's a very, very sickening addiction.
It is,
It's
yeah,
a tough
it's a good
one.
one.
Oh, it's a
It's a
great
tough.
one. Are you kidding me? The community that we've gotten to, form around this is absolutely astounding.
Yeah,
But
it is crazy.
it's really cool to hear you say that you kind of started off with, the more Japanese video games like Ocarina of
Mhm.
Time, massive, like Pokemon, absolutely
Yeah.
huge. My very
Mhm.
first video game system was a Super Nintendo.
Okay,
Not
cool.
because I'm that old, but because that's all that I was able to get. And I had like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Yeah.
sewer video
hmm
game, but also I had
Yeah.
Super Mario. And that
hmm
was my first intro into, that Japanese medium like you're talking about. Realistically, now that I'm thinking, I've never thought about it that way. That's really cool, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people around our age group kind of like, because when you think about like younger games, the best ones are really, from Japan. All those Nintendo, Mario, you know, Legend of Zelda, Kirby, all those things, they're really great for youth, and they're all kind of giving that Japanese inspiration to the young Americans.
See, you see Poito right there.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
There he is,
You might
misbehaving.
see a little Yumi on she's got a little tower right here.
Eventually, we might.
Yeah,
But
might maybe.
so you started off with Nintendo, right? Like,
hmm hmm
what are your like three games that you have to have when it comes to Nintendo?
Ah, that's tough because I am a huge Nintendo fanboy. Like every console, I've always had it. My first gaming system ever was an original Game Boy. It was my dad's, and he handed it down to me. Man, Ocarina of Time, so Legend of Zelda, the N64 game, easily my number one, probably my favorite game of all time. It just blew my mind as a kid, and I think it ages really well.
Even more so
So
than Majora's Mask?
I love Majora's Mask, but to if I'm being honest, it gave me nightmares as a kid. So I didn't play it until I got to high school. Um, but no, Majora's Mask is great. I don't know if I'd put it in my top three. I'd say definitely Ocarina of Time, definitely Mario Sunshine for the GameCube, which some people don't like, but I love it. And my third one, I'd probably say Breath of the Wild, the most recent Legend of Zelda game, is kind of a give me. So if I wanted to give something that's from a different franchise, I'd probably say Mario Kart 8.
Oh,
Yeah,
super choice on that. If I was going
yeah.
to choose like the games that I would never be able to put down, I'm gonna cheat and say series at a certain point. I won't do that.
Okay.
Super Smash Bros. Melee was hands
Oh,
down the best Smash Bros.
yes.
Like the original Super Smash Bros. Was good, and Brawl was okay, but
Yeah.
Melee is where like as a child I was like, this is the greatest thing in the world.
Unreal.
Then I would have to say that Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. I was a Sapphire
Ah,
boy,
see, it's
Emerald,
so tough. Yeah,
but
I was Sapphire as well. Mhm.
like, can those three count as one game since they're in the same
They,
universe?
they definitely can.
Okay,
And
so
now that you
that
say that, I'm like second guessing my
see, like
answers.
Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald changed the
Hmm.
game for Pokemon because you got the fast running shoes at the very
Yes.
beginning, and that was such that made speed runs a lot nicer.
Isn't it so funny how something so subtle can be so game changing?
Oh, it's
Just
ridiculous. Like
running.
throwing like oh you're like okay, running's not gonna make that much of a difference. I went
Yeah.
back and replayed like the original gold version, and I'm just sitting there just waiting for them to move, and I'm like, oh my god, just keep going, just go, go,
This is
go.
me all game.
And just I'm sitting there, I'm like trying to press the B button with like, okay, shoes active. Nope, shoes are not
Yeah.
activating. Ruby and Sapphire were a game changer for Pokemon for me, and I probably
Yeah.
put the most hours into them.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
But the game that I put the absolute most hours into, like not just a series, would be Fire Emblem Sacred Stones.
Wow. Dude, that's a what so what console is that
That was a
for?
Game Boy. That was Game Boy Advanced.
Oh, okay. So I the first Fire Emblem game I ever played was Awakening on the 3DS.
Oh, dude,
And
it's
I love the series now, but I didn't touch it until high school. Or
yeah,
maybe college? No, high school.
dude. For me, Sacred Stones was just so fun because I just sit there and I'd obsessively try to get every single character. Like, I, if a character that I was trying to get died, I would restart the chapter to try to get them.
Yeah, that game is punishing for a young kid. I've imagined because that's when they were really tough. When if they died, you lose them.
They're just gone. Like, it was even worse during Path of Radiance, the one for the GameCube, the
Yeah,
first one for
that
the
I heard
GameCube.
that's amazing.
It was absolutely great. Like the world building, the lore, all of it was absolutely phenomenal. The problem that I ran into is I beat the game once and I put over 100 hours into that first game, and then
Wow.
I'd come back to probably more because I was so obsessive
Yeah.
about it. I came back and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kept losing one character every single time that I tried to get him. I hadn't leveled up my characters right this time around, so one character
Uh-huh.
that I was trying to get just kept dying on me,
Oh.
and I was so upset. And like I stopped playing the game after that. And I was like, I don't want to restart. Or I think what's another? I mean, obviously, I put the most hours into Skyrim, but honestly, I
Oh,
didn't like
really?
Skyrim that like as much as many hours as I put into it.
Uh-huh.
It isn't in my top 10 games.
Yeah, it's whenever I try and think of my favorite games, you know when because you're looking at Skyrim, you put the most hours in, but for those games that you've played in your past, I always try to go with like what does my gut say? What holds like the more emotional grip?
Oh, like if I was gonna be honest here, I've played Portal 2 once, and
Hmm.
I think it's 100 times better than Skyrim.
It is held as like one of the best games of all time.
It's just so fun. It's intuitive in the
Yeah.
the uh, two-player mode.
Hmm.
Like makes it changes how you interact with the game too. It doesn't just make
Yeah.
it so oh there's a second character. It's you have to approach the puzzles in a different way.
Hmm.
And I think Portal 2 was probably great. Budokai Tenkaichi for
Yes.
PlayStation.
PS2
Yes,
or PS.
originally I'd never played them until I bought a PS3.
Okay,
And then
I never played until PS2.
I bought the original fully backwards compatible place like the very last
Oh
one.
yeah, yeah.
And so I was able to play PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 games on the singular console, which was amazing.
Sweet.
It was a
Yeah.
game changer. And then I got the yellow light of death, and it just I couldn't fix it.
Oh my gosh! Wow, so that's pretty rare because Red Ring of Death was very very popular. It was like almost like 25% of Xboxes had that, but Yellow for PS3 was very rare.
Well, that's because originally, let me look up the year. Do you Metal Gear Solid 4?
Hmm.
I think was Sons of yeah, Guns of the Patriots. That's the one that came out on PlayStation 3,
Yeah.
and that came out in 2008. Uh, I bought the
Wow.
PlayStation 3 that was paired with Metal Gear Solid
Okay.
4. So I bought mine in 2008, 2009. It finally
Hmm.
died on me in like 2015. So I got a solid 7 years of service
Yeah,
on it,
that's
and
a
I
good.
used it as a DVD player, as a
Yeah.
streaming.
Blu-ray.
Yeah, Blu-ray. Like it was honestly, PlayStation 3 was my console, and I've not bought a single video game console or video game since then.
Wow. Did you like the Uncharted series?
I never played the Uncharted series. I was actually more of a Infamous kind of guy.
Awesome game. Awesome game.
And I think
Yeah.
the most underrated game from that generation, though, was absolutely Prototype.
Dude, you want to know? Hold on, my cat. Yumi, what are you doing? Hey, stop, please. You want to know a funny story about Prototype?
Yes, always.
So I think I was 15 when Prototype came out, and I went to GameStop with my mom. So it was very rare that my mom would, on a whim, agree that she would buy a game for me. Very rare. And so somehow she agrees because I really wanted Prototype. And you hear all those stories about the classic GameStop employee who's like, "This is rated M. There's a ton of slaughter, violence, blood, gore." And he gave the whole spiel to my mom, and she changed her mind on the spot, and it was heartbreaking. So I
You
never
were
got to
like,
play it.
you were so close, and you looked at the guy, and you just went, "I swear to God,
I
stop
hated
it,
him. I
stop."
hated him. I was like, "Mom, I played Gears of War before. I know what gore is. Don't listen to this dweeb. Let me get this game."
Have you gotten to play it then? Or did you eventually get to play
Um,
it?
I think I've touched Prototype 2, and I've heard that is a big downgrade from the first game. So
The first game, like they were both fun, but the first game, there's a point in time where you run around and you can pick up a tank and just run around with a tank above your head.
yes,
Like
he's got
how?
the huge arm.
Yeah, I don't even care. Like somebody's like, I got into an argument with somebody once, and like Prototype was a terrible game. It has a terrible story. I was like, I didn't play it for the story. I played it so I could
Yeah,
go.
what the,
It was like Grand Theft Auto, only a lot more violent.
with like you're a villain, you have superpowers.
Well, you could choose to be a villain or you could choose to be a good guy, and that was
Okay,
the
so
great like.
seeing that.
Yeah, but Infamous did it 100 times. Infamous did it so much better. Like the first
Oh my
Infamous game
gosh.
was
Yeah, Infamous. So I bought my PlayStation 3 because I had a 360 for a very long time. I bought my PlayStation 3 for two games, for Uncharted 2 and Infamous 2. And oh, I loved both of those games so much.
Infamous 2 was such a mind-boggling game.
Yeah.
Like the fact that every decision that I liked their good and bad choices were so
Hmm.
interesting, and then you also got to see character progression. And spoiler alert
Yeah.
for I guess people who have never played Infamous and don't want to know the ending of Infamous 2, the fact that the original person who was supposedly your good assistant turns
Uh-huh.
bad in the end, and the bad one's like, never mind, I'm good, just because of the character choices, and they see what's actually
Yeah.
happening. You're like, oh my god. And then how you could choose to have both electric powers and either the fire or the
Uh-huh.
was it the ice? Yeah, that was the fire and the
I thought it
what
was
is it?
lightning. I might be wrong.
No, well, it was lightning. Lightning was his original power, and then it
Yeah.
was lightning and oh, okay. Man.
I always really loved how because I started off playing evil, but then I hated how your actual the character model changed. The evil and evil you got, and he looked so ugly, full evil. So then I switched back over.
Oh no, that's I think that was such a cool way to do it though.
So cool.
Just
So it's
because
really cool mechanic.
you get to see your character degrade over time.
Yeah.
Um oh man. You had Thunder was the main one, but Fire Fire was another one, and then Ice. It was Fire and Ice.
Okay. So you're right. You're right.
Yeah. I don't know how it was right. I'm guessing here. But it was the amount of enjoyment that I genuinely got from playing that game, and it was so replayable because
Yeah.
every decision that you make led you down a slightly different path, so you could play it a few different times and get you'd play it twice to get to both stories.
Yeah. And it was one of those games that, like, similar to a comic book game, like just jumping around and fighting people, it feels so fun.
Spider-Man for the PlayStation 2, where
Are you talking
you
about the Amazing Spider-Man, the comic book one?
maybe I don't remember like all that I remember is just like you could swing around the buildings and just like
Yes.
fly from the sky. And there was one where if you fell too far, like it wasn't so much that you died, it's just you couldn't actually touch the ground in game
Uh-huh.
unless it was cutscenes. And then there
Yeah.
was another one where you could actually swing and hit the ground, and that was the one that I liked the most.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think I know. Yeah. I think that's just the mainline games, like Spider-Man 2, like Spider-Man
I think
1
it
and 2.
was, yeah. And then
Those
there
are
was
all.
Spider-Man 1 was one where you couldn't touch the ground. Spider-Man 2
Yep.
you could.
You're good. Yeah.
And that was I remember both of those specifically just because I remember swinging around on them. Like I didn't even want to
Yeah.
play the game. It was just so fun to
No,
swing
no.
around. Or
So,
what are some other like really good games from my childhood that are like the Budokai Tenkaichi series? I was way too good at them.
oh, I was not.
I was really good at at fighting games, and it eventually got to a point where my friend said, "Oh, you're just good because of the character that you have." And I said, "All right, I will take an unedited
That on the
Cyberman."
chest. You took
I,
that on the chest.
I will take an unedited Cyberman, and you can choose whatever character you want to choose to
Uh-huh.
fight me. And so, for those of you that don't know, the Cyberman only had like maybe one bar of health compared to like four to
The
five of
three.
other
Yeah.
characters. Yeah. So I'm up there with the Cyberman. I got one. I took one hit and destroyed him, and he had 5 bars of health. And I
Dang.
was like, I just sat there and I went, so which one of us is actually button mashing here?
What did we learn today?
What did we learn today? He's like, I never want to play video games with you again. I was like, that's what we learned. Good call. Very
Dude,
good call.
when you get stomped by a friend in a game, it's the worst feeling ever.
Dude, the like those are the memories that you like. Those are the things that live on in your memory, though. Like just the absolute like god stomps of video games.
Yeah.
Or did you ever play the Yu-Gi-Oh card game video game?
Maybe. I definitely played the card game a ton.
It was you could. This is how ridiculous this was. You had the card game
Was it for the
on.
DS?
No, it was for the original Game Boy.
Oh, then
It
no,
was
I didn't.
not. It wasn't the original Game Boy. It was like Game Boy Color, Game Boy
Color.
Advance
Yeah.
generation.
Well, if it was for advanced, maybe I did.
My first handheld system was the
Oh,
Game
I
Boy.
think I did. Was it like sprite art and you like it's like you kind of look down like you do for Pokemon, it's like that down angle. You walk around a town, you can buy from a shop, or am I wrong?
Maybe I don't know. Like all that I remember is my friend would hand me this video game every now and then, and I just
Uh-huh.
duel random people. Or you, there was a
Yeah, yeah.
huge tournament duel thing that they had online. That was
Okay.
just an online game. That was a weird one.
Yeah. No, Yu-Gi-Oh is one of those games. It's like, man, there's so much potential for it to be, or it's one of those like animes. It's like this could be an amazing video game. Like, yeah, just butcher it.
Well,
I
the
have seen like VR footage that looks awesome. It's like a VR game where they like place it on the dual blade or the deck blade or whatever it's called, and like the monsters will appear in front of them. It looks pretty sick.
like see for me that would be like the ultimate use for Yu-Gi-Oh, like a VR
Yeah,
kind of like Pokemon. It's
100%.
not quite as like it wouldn't be quite as good, but like Yu-Gi-Oh,
Yeah,
like the effect of slapping the cards down and seeing them actually appear because they're getting scanned in, I think would be that's what VR needs. That's what
yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh needs.
Oh, it'd be like because the ones that I've seen, it's not an official game. It's like someone in like either VR chat or some like VR like sandbox game where you can make your models and stuff. That's where it's done for them. But like an official game, that could be amazing.
Imagine the Shadow Realm, the VR just shuts off and shows you
Oh
hell.
yeah, you got like now if you lose, you die.
That would
Get you
be
locked in like Sword Online or something.
oh no, not Sword Art Online. So we've left the realm of manga behind, but we've transitioned from manga to video games, just like your channel has started to do. And we
Ooh.
talked about this a little bit before. So,
Mhm.
what made you really want to make this switch from purely focusing on manga
Mhm.
to including video games and video game discussions?
Yeah, so there's twofold to why I changed my name. The first one was pretty simple. I just didn't really like it. I thought it was kind of cringy. So I actually made an Instagram account like 3 years ago because I read a lot of manga. Then I was like, I kind of want to post photos and give my thoughts on like volumes. So and I was like, what am I going to make my name? I really like Hunter x Hunter, so I just made it that. And then I like progressed to making videos, and I was like, I might as well have like the continuity with my name and my Instagram accounts. I kept that, but I've always like never really loved it that much, even though I know some of my fans really do like it. So that's one reason. But the really the main reason is it has nothing to do with like my love for manga dwindling because I still read volumes daily. I felt like I was very siloed in to manga content only because it was in my name. And I feel like with a change in my name to kind of focus the point of my channel not to be necessarily on manga, but more so like on me and my like passions and hobbies. And a big passion for me is video games. And so that's a big reason I wanted to make still make my manga content, but as well make video game stuff. Um, and I feel like then a name change really enabled that.
And I think it does because that's part of the reason why I chose Lohali because I'm not
Yeah,
really siphoned in into one specific area. If
yeah,
I,
yeah,
if I want to make a transition to something else, I very easily can. It's a ridiculous name, don't get me wrong, but I'm still able to make a transition.
yeah.
And I think if
Hey,
you
but
kind of
it's all
shove
about you.
yourself, oh yeah, it's all about me. It's
Yeah.
all about this guy, all about this guy right here. But it's really interesting to see you come to that conclusion of like, I don't want to be pigeonholed into something. Has that really
Yeah.
affected, how you approach videos recently then? Like, are you trying to approach them in a different, more creative way? Or are you trying to approach them in the same way?
Um, I definitely always like naturally want to improve my video quality. So, that is one aspect of it, but I think maybe at like a subconscious level, knowing that now like my YouTube channel is more so centered around me rather than just, the manga I'm reading. Now that kind of gives me the uh, a bigger sense of pride, you could say, to my content. And because I do, I personally, I can go back and look at my first, manga video and look at like my most recent one, and I can see a huge jump in quality, whether that's through editing or just like my confidence talking on videos. But there definitely is that personal sense of wanting to have my videos be higher quality with this like new stage in my channel's life for sure.
I'm really excited to see where it goes, just because again, you're so passionate about video games and
Mhm.
manga. So let's transition back from the video game discussion to the
Yeah.
otaku heart of this
Hey,
channel,
let's
right?
do
This manga club. Oh no,
Let's do
have I pigeonholed myself? I'm not quite sure. But
it.
when it comes to collecting, what do you look for in a series? Like, what do you look for? In fact, not even just collecting, just reading in general.
Oh, geez, that is a tough question. Well, the simplest answer is, what sounds interesting to me in that exact moment. That's a easy way to put it, because overall, I definitely tend to read shonen most.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I love drama. I love seinen. I've read some shoujo that I really like. So you could easily look at my collection and be like, okay, he gravitates towards shonen, which I do, but pretty much it's what have I heard from like my colleagues, you other manga YouTubers, and I've heard high praise from, as well as just looking at art and the story, what sounds interesting to me. So it's very very selfish, but that's kind of my mindset.
I mean, manga is a very selfish endeavor.
Yeah,
Let's be honest here. You're reading something. You're spending your time consuming something, and you're spending your money to read it. So why
yeah,
shouldn't it be selfish?
yeah. I mean, don't waste your time if it's personal time. Do something you enjoy.
Unless, of course, you've already sunk 4 years of your life into a series. It's ending soon, but it's gone south really fast. You
Yeah.
know, every manga collector has at least one series where like, God, I don't want to finish this. Like,
I don't enjoy this anymore. Yeah.
but you're like, I gotta soldier through, and I just gotta finish this. And once I'm done, I'll never touch it again.
I have to see this ending. That was definitely me with watching Naruto. Like the final war arc, I just did not really enjoy, and I was like, I just have to see Naruto become Hokage.
And it like even then for me the final war arc wasn't bad
No, 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 it's not
until
bad.
we reached Kaguya.
Yeah,
After that, I was like done. Fine. I was like, I'll finish this, but I will
yeah.
not. Or Bleach. Bleach is ending.
I've heard similar. I've heard that is really rough for Bleach fans.
It. There were people. There was a time where people were taking out their entire collection of Bleach volumes and lighting them on fire.
Okay, that's just dumb.
They took like
That's
70 plus volumes and they're like, screw you. I'm gonna light my volumes on fire. I was like, that seems
who
excessive.
who are you proving a point to? You
You've
just
just
bring it
burned
up.
$800 at least. Yeah. Kudos.
Yeah, uh,
I
yeah.
wish that I had been like super like I had known how to use eBay at that point in time. 'Cause I would
Oh yeah.
have bought up the Bleach volumes for like pennies on the dollar at that moment.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Definitely, like as you get, more and more into the manga collecting lifestyle, it's like, man, if I knew my collecting tips now, what would I say? 200, 300, $400?
I would have saved a lot of time because I would not have double bought things.
Yeah.
I'm still glad that I bought in Rurouni Kenshin a second time because I
Yeah.
did
You
end
have,
up.
you have Rave Master, right?
I do have some of Rave Master. I love Rave Master.
That's a that's a valuable series right there.
That and I have Bokurano.
Okay.
I have the full series of Bokurano.
Oh, I have not read or watched that, but I've heard great. It seems right up my alley. It's like a mystery thriller, right?
It is. It's like mystery meets Gundam.
Oh wait, I had no idea there's a Gundam twist.
There's like you get basically the pitch is. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna find you this pitch to read it to you.
Yeah, I know that the anime is very valuable, and
Oh,
that's really hands on.
it is very very valuable. So let's see. I want the like. Uh, they never do it the fun way where you like when you try to find it on something. Okay, here's the MAL. This way, Basimp, I can agree with what I'm saying. This is the description for it. Synopsis. Um, 15 children, 8 boys and 7 girls are enjoying their summer camp together when they suddenly discover a grotto by the sea. When they enter the mysterious place, they find a room full of computers as well as a man named Kokopelli who introduces himself as the owner. He claims to be working on a game which involves a giant robot that has been designed to protect the Earth from 15 different alien invasions.
Mm.
Kokopelli hasn't been able to test the game yet, so he persuades all but one of the children to sign a contract which he claims will be a fun adventure. However, as soon as the contracts are signed, things start to take a much darker turn. That's all
Sounds
that I'm
like
going to give you.
that's a great synopsis. It's like we got Jumanji meets battle royale, kind of. No,
It
maybe not
is.
battle royale.
It is. Well, Based wouldn't recognize this because it says a 7.67 Mal
Mm.
ranking. I know, right? It's okay.
How
It's.
would you even bring this up to me, dude?
I'm
I'm
sorry. It's
excited. I'm
trash
so,
now. But you know what that means? You need to go read Hajime no Ippo because it has a 8.6, much
yeah,
higher than its
yeah. Evo
competitors.
is definitely a series I want to read. I know it's never going to be printed, which is heartbreaking because I know people love it.
It's it is so good. But like I said, I always make fun of Base because we always go back and forth on his love of King and Ashura. I'm
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that King and Ashura wasn't in the top 50. Oh wait, it's not.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you can break down that his logic very quickly.
Oh yeah, dude, it's I love Base. He's such a good guy. He's so pure. But I'm always like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that Hajime no Ippo had an 8.68 and King and Ashura had an 8.43. Weird, weird.
Superior fighting manga right there.
Oh yeah, but the reason why I don't necessarily trust Mal all that much is because Hunter x Hunter has an 8.69.
Yes, and it's too low. I agree.
I do think that's too low. And I'm gonna be fully honest here, as somebody who loves certain series. I don't think One Piece should be at number 4 with a 9.08. And I love One Piece.
Yeah,
Like 20th Century Boy should be a little bit higher.
yeah. After the whole interspecies reviewer debacle, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, with Nuxtaku getting everyone to go over there and rank it
Yeah.
super high.
After it got to number one, that's when you're like, okay, the validity of this website is definitely depreciated a bit.
That was probably one of my favorite like weeb controversies from the past year. Because he's like, go give it a 10 stars, and every like thousands of people went, made accounts, and signed up,
Oh,
and then people started going, well, that doesn't count. They just trolled it. I was like, so what you're saying is you can break the system.
yeah, it's not better than Full Metal.
It okay. Don't hurt Full Metal Alchemist feelings over here.
Yeah,
It was good. I love Full Metal Alchemist.
yeah. No. Full Metal is definitely a little bit better than Species Reviewer.
100%. I mean,
Yeah,
Interspecies Reviewer is number 2, obviously, but other than that,
yeah. Obviously, I after that that's a series I would have never watched. After that controversy, I watched the first 2 episodes. I was like, okay, this is a steaming hot pile of trash. And
well, there's certain series out there that you just have to watch the car wreck happen.
yeah, you have to. It's like there's like dating reality TV shows. The car wreck is half the fun.
And you're just sitting there. When's it going to end? What's going to happen? What's going to go wrong this time around?
Who about what?
And I just love it to like. I do love some of those trashier things.
Oh yeah, everybody's got those guilty pleasure TV shows. I watched Love is Blind. That's actually one that I watched this year. It's like a reality. I watched it with my wife, and it's such crap, cringy TV. But sometimes you just gotta do it. You gotta
Oh,
watch something.
oh, absolutely. My wife loves watching Desperate Housewives.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like I'll watch an episode or two every now and then
Yeah.
with her, but it's so bad. I'm like, how does this one street in this city literally have multiple serial killers, a plane crash, like
Everyone's
riots?
beating each other.
Like I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Or she'll
My parents
watch,
watched that show growing up, and they would never let me be in the same room. I never understood it.
and then you watch it, like watch one episode when you're older because it was like forbidden fruit, and you were like, "This was stupid. You could have let me watch
So,
this, and I would not have wanted to watch it."
first of all, why were you even watching this? This is terrible.
This is, Mom, Dad, I'm so disappointed in you.
Yeah, yeah. It's like when
Well,
you get old, your parents aren't as perfect as you thought they were, and you're just like, ugh.
I had
I never.
such, you're like, I had hope for you guys. What is wrong?
I
Like,
thought you had good taste.
my wife right now is loving, relatively loving God of High School.
Okay, yeah, I think it's good.
I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes, and a guest that I recorded with
Mhm.
2 episodes ago, Deadlift Panda, on
Okay.
Instagram, encouraged me to read the manhwa, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll read that webtoon, that manhwa. Oh my god, it is so different.
I've heard they take like 100 chapters and squish it down to 7 episodes.
I'm gonna take a wild guess as to I know where this series is going to end,
Uh huh.
and I know how they're gonna get there, and I know what they're gonna try to do to get there, and I'm not excited about it. Like
Oh,
the animation is so beautiful in it though,
oh, it's amazing. Yeah, it's really well done.
and the fight choreography is perfect.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
that's so
really
huge
really
in anime.
good.
It's like a good fight choreography, and I feel like that's something that you don't really realize until you've seen bad fights.
Oh, there are some very odd, like Seven Deadly Sins have some terrible fights.
Really, I've only read the manga.
The manga was okay. I
Mhm.
stopped following it after Elizabeth got hit with the meteorite.
I haven't seen that yet. I'm like 18 volumes in right
Oh,
now.
sorry, didn't mean to spoil anything.
Yeah,
Don't worry,
that
it
that could
that
mean anything.
that doesn't spoil much.
she could be, yeah, that could, yeah, that doesn't spoil
It
anything.
doesn't. It doesn't. I was sat there I read that specific chapter, and I just went like I was reading it online. I was like, all right, and we're never reading this ever again. I'm
Yeah.
not wasting my time. I wasn't
The,
emotionally
the
invested.
the verbal sigh, that's when you're done with the series.
Just or yeah, like I did with originally I did with History's Strongest Disciple Kenichi.
I don't
I
even know what that is.
oh, it's honestly the anime is
Mhm.
really good. The anime is really fun.
Okay. Okay.
Uh worth a watch. But I ugh ugh ugh.
Yeah, for me it's like the point where I'll like I pick up a volume, I'll give it a couple reads, I pick it up like later and I'll be like, man, then I'll just have this like come to sense moment. I'm like, I'm just not enjoying this anymore. I'm like pushing myself through this. Like there's so many other series I could be reading right now.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
So annoyingly bad. So what are you looking to add to your manga collection here coming up?
Oh, actually, I'm really wanting to add sports manga. So my top sports manga I want to add is Slam Dunk because I love who's the manga? Same for Vagabond.
In in Takue Inoue?
Taki. Yeah, yeah,
Takue Inoue. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, yeah. So Slam Dunk's my number one. Number two, I really want to pick up Haikyuu. Never read it or watched it, and there's another sports one that I'm forgetting right now.
I Shield 21.
Yes, by Murata as the artist, right?
It's Murata's the artist, and he's paired with oh man, the guy who's writing Doctor Stone. I
Oh, the Doctor Stone is underrated. Who is that?
Inagaki.
Yes, Inagaki.
Richard
Yeah.
Inagaki. Yeah, he's so it's a surprising team because
Yeah. Wow, I had no idea. What the?
yeah, yeah, mind blown.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know that. Wow, that's crazy. He did Ice 21 before Doctor Stone.
Oh yeah, and Inagaki was like he knows how to research so much stuff.
Oh my dude. When I read Doctor Stone, I'm just like, how much research did this guy do to figure out what goes into making a cell phone? Like,
Well, not just that, like he did that for Doctor Stone. It's like the fact that he put so much research into all of his stories is so much fun
yeah.
because for Eye Shield 21, he actually explains how the game of football works, and
Okay.
he does it in a natural like way for the overall story. So you're like, okay,
Yeah,
you're
yeah, it
learning.
works well.
You're like, okay, it's not like again. I just had this discussion with that man in his manga. It's not like
Mhm.
Hikaru no Go where you don't actually understand what's going on. You're like,
Yeah.
how's he winning? Did he win? I don't like. You can't look at the board
Yeah,
and know if
yeah.
he's winning.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking about that because that's a video that I'm actually working on is a Doctor Stone review, and I was thinking about, in a typical shonen, the next challenge for the main character is, a stronger villain, but that's like totally the opposite for Doctor Stone. It's like a obstacle, not necessarily like their enemy is growing in strength. It's just a natural obstacle for like their pursuit in bringing back humanity to, the way it was. And the way he introduces new like scientific inventions, it's so it naturally progresses with the story that it makes it like so interesting.
And Boichi is such a good artist.
Oh, dude, I think I used to not think much about his art, but as I've like read more and more of Dr. Stone, he might be one of my favorite artists. I really really love his designs.
I think he's what sets him apart. One, he's a Korean artist working in
Oh,
Japan as a mangaka.
oh, okay, I think I did know that.
So he has a little bit different background. But two,
Yeah,
I think, don't quote me, I might be getting my artists mixed up. I think he started off doing etchy stuff.
he definitely did. He definitely. I know that for sure.
I'm like 99.9% sure
Yeah,
that uh,
I think he's done some recently as well. I might be wrong about that, but I know his like big breakthrough was Sunken Rock, if I'm
Sunken
not
Rock
mistaken.
was a
Yeah,
baller. Sunken Rock
so
and
good.
Terraform Mars. He's done some stuff
Yes.
for
Yep.
Terraform Mars.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, but you're right. Before that, he dabbled in a little 18 plus work.
Some not family friendly.
Yeah, NSFW, if you will.
Can you click on that on Reddit at work?
Yeah, it's fuzzed out when I'm at work on Reddit.
Um, but he's done a few redrawings as well. Boichi has.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So he's doing an interpretation of Trigun,
Okay.
and
Has he done One Piece?
that is the one that I was about to bring up. Like I
Okay.
just got sent that by that Deadlift Panda guy. He just sent me
Okay.
the link to reading Boichi's like Ace's side story. And
Oh,
the thing is, it is actually Oda approved. It will
okay.
count as canon, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Ace's story is drawn by Boichi?
The new one is, yeah.
Okay. Wow, I might need to pick that up. I love redrawings. I think it's so fun. It's like such a fun thing that like happens in the manga industry.
It's really cool to see like the inspirations like coming out of it. But it's
Mhm.
Boichi, this was announced April of this year. Dr. Stone's Boichi to draw a manga adaptation of One Piece Ace's stories novels.
Oh, there you go.
So he's gonna go through and write the entire thing, and it's gonna be titled One Piece Novel A. Um,
Oh, I
so
wonder if he's gonna cater it towards Oda's art style or just completely take the characters and make them Boichi version.
from what I've seen, he's gonna make them Boichi version.
Okay, nice. I'm
Like,
very interested to
have
see
you
that.
have you seen he redrew a very specific chapter of One Piece? Did you ever
I've
see that
I've
one?
seen I haven't read the chapter. I've seen the character designs though.
Yeah, that was that. I think he's gonna go closer to that, and I don't know.
Okay,
To me, that feels a little bit weird. It's just so weird seeing characters that I know and love
so
drawn by
weird.
somebody else.
Yeah, that's like when Oda drew a bunch of like the shonen main characters with his style, like Goku, and it just threw me off. I thought they all looked so funny.
And then he also did Boichi did another one called Origin.
Yes, I have not read it, but I know. Yeah, I know. I'm familiar with it, or I've heard of it.
It's just like he's such a like his artwork is so detailed.
Yes, it is, especially his landscapes and his like backgrounds, which I think is something that's kind of underrated.
His landscapes are super insane. I think another one is to me that looks really cool. Oh man, is like his understanding of the human anatomy is really interesting.
Oh, okay. Are you speaking from his 18 plus?
No, not no. Like his sunken rock. You take a
Oh
look,
yeah,
like the way that he has the delts kind of like almost
yeah.
triangling down into the bicep and the tricep. His forearm
Mhm.
like design is really interesting. It's like he's has such a good inherent understanding of the human anatomy. It's just so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I think the
And I
only
think
what were you gonna
go for
say?
it.
Ah, you first.
I was gonna say I think he does a fantastic job of designing villains, and then he has like a certain drawing style for like the villains of the series, and then taking a total 180 and drawing something kind of lighthearted.
It's so cool to see, and I think
Yeah.
the only person there's a few people alive right now who are able to kind of rival that kind of artwork, but
Mhm.
in its own different way. One, I think Murata is
Yeah,
hands down one of the most insane artists. Like you take a look at some of the stuff that he draws for One Punch Man right now, and you're like, how did you draw that? Like,
yeah. Murata for me is my clear number one. It's just he's in another league of his own.
honestly, people will think that I'm crazy. I will always say that Kubo Tite, I think he
Interesting.
I think if you take a look at his characters, they're effortlessly cool. Like
100% agree. I think what's hard for me is I've never gotten past like the first 15 volumes of Bleach, and I think his art is at its peak in like is the middle volumes. I know it's not that great.
it
I've
goes,
heard people say it's lazy in the later
he
ones.
does, but I think out of the original big three, Kubo was probably the best like
Artist,
artist, hands
I
down.
100% agree with that.
Just because he was so cool, and then
Yeah,
you know Togashi, I don't think is that
no,
good. Uh,
no, but he can be good when he tries, from what I've seen, but
or
I don't think he's that great.
Horikoshi is okay.
Yeah,
Takue
yeah,
Inoue,
yeah. Inoue is definitely up there for me. I love his character designs.
and then obviously uh, Kentaro Miura, like
Oh my
Berserk.
god. Yeah, no. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's definitely in a league of his own too, I would say. I
But
love his character design.
it's just so good. There's just something so violent and sad at the same time about his characters.
So sad. You have to be in a mood when you're reading Berserk.
And it better be a sad mood because you're about to have a sad
Yeah,
boy
you better not
summer.
be happy because you will be sad after.
Because I think one of the coolest spreads that I've ever seen, like hands down, are like his when the apostles are coming to attack, and it's like they're all in their
Oh,
demon forms, and they just look so terrifying.
so and that's one of those things that if you like pause because it's a panel that takes you know 10 seconds to look at it and flip through. But if you really take the time and look at it, you're like, geez, man, he must have taken a full day minimum to just draw this panel.
The way that his mind works is terrifying.
It is terrifying. But I would say the same for gosh, was you oh my gosh, I'm gonna kill myself later.
Uh,
Shiver, Tomy,
yeah, I have his
oh my gosh, it's
the
killing
father
me.
of the Godfather of
Oh
horror.
horror. Junji
Junji
Ito.
Ito. Oh,
Golly.
okay. Hopefully, no one. You know what? I say that I never edit anything out. I might have to edit this out so
Yeah.
neither of us are too
Just so
embarrassed.
we don't lose all of our manga credibility right there.
Shh, it's okay. I don't know
Yeah.
what his artwork isn't that good
Yeah.
in my opinion. His artwork
I think
isn't
it's okay.
good, but I think it if it was better, his horror wouldn't work quite as well.
Interesting take. Interesting. Let me think about that.
Because
Because sometimes,
imagine if somebody like Boichi was to draw that. Would that be quite as
yeah,
scary, or would that be almost too much for your mind to? Because I think what works with Junji Ito is
mhm,
your mind kind of fills in like those
the
gaps,
horror itself.
the
Yeah.
horror itself.
Yeah.
Whereas another artist might throw in too much detail and almost
Mhm.
ruin what's there.
That's definitely. I'm not the biggest horror fan, but I know that's a huge aspect is leaving out like what your imagination is working on its own. That's a big aspect in the horror effect. So that's a good point.
Oh man. And as much as I love certain artists like
Hmm.
Naoki Urasawa. Uh
Oh,
I
love his art style.
his art style is amazing, but I wouldn't put him in my top 10 artists.
Yeah, I mean, he might get number 10, but when I think of my favorite artist, he doesn't jump there. But
But
he's one of the most distinguishable artists, I will say.
his artwork looks so like you look at it and you're like, okay, I know who drew that.
Yeah, that's Urasawa work right there.
That's
Yeah,
and
for sure.
his story writing is shivers.
Yeah,
Like
Barden,
20th
second
Century
one.
Boys, the way that he interweaves like the time aspect to the
Hmm.
entire story is he does that in every single one of his stories. He
Yeah,
uses time as a different way. He uses time as the storytelling mechanism.
yeah. Gosh, his storytelling methods are, there's I feel like there's artists or mangakas that they have such a distinguishable aspect about their art, and for Urasawa it's his storytelling. It's like no other manga shares similarities when it comes to like how he tells stories, I feel like.
He's he will I say this about Oda, and I will happily say this about Urasawa. I think that he's going to go down as one of the best,
Yeah,
authors of all time.
yeah, I would agree. I would definitely agree. And I haven't finished any of his works. I'm four omnibus into 20th Century Boys. I'm reading them as they come out with the perfect editions, or not as they are, but I'm collecting them as they are, and I'm slowly reading them. And I've read about half of Monster. I just haven't bought the rest of it, but both of them are just so fantastic
And to
from what I
me,
read.
I'm a broken record, but if you've never read an Urasawa work, you have to start with Pluto to kind of get your mind
Interesting.
primed. Because I don't get me wrong, I don't think Pluto is the best out of the three. I
Yeah,
think to
yeah.
me, 20th Century Boys is my favorite.
Okay.
I think Monster is widely regarded as one of the best series of all
Mhm,
time. I like 20th Century Boys just a little bit more, but to kind of get
mhm,
you into the mindset of how, you know, Urasawa writes, Pluto
mhm.
is 8 volumes, and it's a little bit more easy to read.
Easier to
It's
digest.
easier to digest, but it also kind
Yeah,
of dives you into this the way that he tells his stories without like
yeah.
drowning you in it. Because some people say like I tried reading Monster, like the story seems really good, but I just don't understand how his writing style works. And I was like, okay, go over here, read this, come
Take that
back, and
back.
then
Yeah, yeah,
I've told a few people to do that, and they come back and they go, that was they're like, okay, I understand it now, like I get it.
yeah. Yeah, Pluto's definitely on my to collect because I've never read or watched anything Astro Boy, and I hear it's a really great, or I guess part of the world, side story maybe.
It's like a reimagining is probably a better way to say it.
Reimagining. Okay,
Yeah. Because
okay.
it doesn't follow it's in the same universe as Astro Boy. It has a lot of the same
Hmm.
characters. It's just telling the story from a different way. And
Okay.
I will always, always, always recommend reading Pluto.
I've only heard amazing things about it. I've never heard a bad thing about it.
And honestly, like I said, I do think that there are certain artists, mangaka, who are gonna go down as the best of all time. And
Hmm.
I think that Urasawa is going to go down as a goat. But I think the ultimate goat is going to end up being, if he ever completes it and he completes it right, Oda has to finish One Piece properly for him to go
Yeah,
down as the goat.
such a tough question, man.
Do you think
Such a
that
tough question.
do you think that he'll be able to finish it?
Oh yeah, I think you will.
And I mean
I think.
finish it properly.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you have to hope that because I feel like to have a great ending, you have to know the ending before you even create the story, and that's what I see so clearly with Urasawa's works. Same with like Vinland Saga. It's so clear that Makoto he knows how he wants to end the story. Same for like Gantz. They know how they want to end the story before they even start it. So, but One Piece has gone on for so long that you're thinking, there's no way Oda would have jumped into this and been like, this is going 120 volumes.
From what I understand from some of the things that I've read, he has the ending written already.
Okay,
He doesn't
well
have it
then
drawn, he has it written. And every single thing that he's done is leading up to
is
that
to
point.
leaving that point.
But the problem with him is he keeps adding on to the story and expanding upon the universe more and more. Like he's
Hmm.
there's a running joke that everyone said he said 4 times that the series is going to end within 5 years, and that's been he said the series was only supposed to last five
And years in
years,
the making.
and now we're 21 years into it, and he's like
Yeah,
now he's come out and said it's going to end in 5 years again, and we're all just sitting here going,
it
no,
ain't.
it's not.
It ain't.
I
Yeah.
was like, dude, you have so much to like wrap up.
Oh yeah. And there's definitely something to be said about the more you add to a story, the more fluff you add, it really weakens the final blow.
But I don't know. There's a certain point where I think he might have added. We'll just have to see if he can stick the landing and become the because if he does this, he is already the number one selling manga artist of all time
Mhm.
at this point.
Oh yeah.
One Piece has sold more volumes than anything other than Batman and Superman.
Yeah. It really boggles me that One Piece doesn't have the Western presence that, a DBZ or a Naruto have when it's or even like an MHA when it's so clearly the GOAT across like the rest of the world.
It's it, the animation killed it.
Oh my
Funimation killed it.
what a terrible start for an anime.
Like they changed certain aspects, like when Nami's mother and Arlong have their little face off. In the
Yeah.
Funimation, he's pointing at her instead of pointing a gun at her head. She dies of
Uh,
starvation instead of Nami seeing her. You know exactly what happens, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like instead of seeing that scene, she starves to death in the. Yeah, I was like, okay, that's not very good. Sanji smokes lollipops,
Yep, I know that. Yeah, four
like,
kids. You
and
love
then
it.
Luffy's voice actor in American. I'm not saying that she's a bad voice actor. She was just not the right choice for Luffy.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny to think about that because the Naruto voice actor is just she kicked the ass. You know, she did such a good job.
If they had found, I think that if Luffy's voice actor hadn't been so poorly matched, I'm gonna use poorly
Mhm.
matched as the right word instead of,
Yeah,
because again, I don't want to insult anyone's creating.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but if they hadn't been poorly matched, I think One Piece would have had a better shot.
Yeah. I agree. I even think the same for Black Clover. I feel like Asta's voice acting really threw off a lot of people. I think it has. To me, it's the best. Aside from One Piece, I think it's the best ongoing battle shonen right
Oh,
now.
I like it more than I like anime wise. I
Mm.
kind of like it more.
Oh my! Actually, I enjoy the story way more, but I do think the animation is pretty weak for Black Clover.
It's
When I
it's it's weak, but I think that's because it's doing it's they're trying to One Piece it.
Yeah,
They're
they
trying to
are,
do weekly instead of seasonal.
which is just so taxing on animators. Can you imagine like so
It,
much work?
and not just that, like you're having different teams work on different episodes, so every single thing is
Having to keep like continuity with like so many things while like having such a high workload too.
it's that's part of the reason that I wish that One Piece they I wish One Piece had made a transition from like weekly to seasonal, but it's too
100%.
late now. It's
It's
too
way
late.
too late. Like, how does Oda even handle it? I don't get it.
He's insane because
He is insane.
he helps. He's like because they have to ask him if he's going to be using any specific devil fruits when they do filler. So he has to know
Uh-huh.
what devil fruits he wants to use for powers, and he can be like,
Yeah.
Granted, he does kind of cheat a little bit every now and then, where he'll do like two or three of very similar fruits. They're not the same, like
Okay.
the kilo fruit and the ton fruit.
I see. I've only read the first 30 volumes of One
The
Piece,
30
so
volumes
I'm
that would
pretty.
have gotten you
Yeah.
through Alabasta, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
Alabasta has the kilo fruit, where she can change her weight from 0 kilo, like 1 kilo, to uh,
Yep.
that lady.
Super heavy. Yep. Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
character later on who gets a ton fruit, and he can change his weight up to tons.
Oh, so lame.
I'm like, he has like a 10-ton vice. Like
Okay.
he can go heavier, but I was just like, Oda, come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on, dude. Give her. You know, something, not just total rip off. That's funny.
It's mind-boggling to me. Absolutely, unequivocally mind-boggling. But I love it anyway.
You gotta give him a break if he's made 95, 97 volumes of which is it is amazing how quality has not dipped. Or I haven't read it all, but I've heard from One Piece like diehard fans that they would say quality has not really dipped.
No, there's been one weak arc, in my opinion,
Yeah.
one genuinely weak arc. And that
So
was
insane.
I if you're at volume 30, you might be coming up to it, the Long Ring Island arc.
Okay, no, I'm not there. I pretty much just like wrapped up Alabasta.
Okay, so you're
So
at the Alabasta. So in two
yeah.
arcs is what I consider the weakest arc.
Okay.
So you're gonna be actually technically
Skypia,
you have
pretty sure
Skypiea,
next.
but some people some people kind of do a weird thing where they split up the first like Skypiea into two arcs. I'm like, no, it's
Okay.
but Skypiea is one arc to me.
Okay.
It's after you get done with Alabasta, you go to Skypiea. That's the
Okay.
storyline, and then the arc right after that is the weak one.
Okay. There
But it's
you go.
short. It's thankfully short.
Yeah, and I feel like it's one of those things that if you're a One Piece fan, like you would, or at least me, I would think it's a fine arc until I hear other people say it's mad or weak.
Nope. I read that the first time around, and I was like, this is wow.
Oh, okay, so it's bad.
It's generally considered one of the weaker arcs.
Okay, well then there you go.
But
There you
it's the way that Oda designs the stories, and I think it's a way that a lot of manga could do it, and a lot of story authors do it. Is you'll have your peaks and valleys, right?
go. Mhm.
You need like a really
Yeah.
high tension story, and then you need
Yeah.
to drop down to a low tension one. And I think
Yeah.
what happens with One Piece is every now and then he'll do two like really high tension stories, and so when he
Mhm.
drops down to like a lower tension area, you're like, oh, this isn't as good, even though it's there to give your mind a break from what's about to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely a big challenge when creating any type of story, because a low is necessary for everything, because if you just have all high tension, it'll lose its weight, and it'll be exhausting too.
It's just unfortunate. It's super annoying, super unfortunate. But I give authors a lot of credit. Like I jokingly kind of crap on Hiro Mashima for Fairy Tail, even
Yeah.
though when he wrote the series, he didn't want to make it that long. He just wanted a nice light break from
Yeah.
Rave Master, and
Yeah.
then it just happened to take off and become extraordinarily popular.
Yeah. Hey, and I'm not gonna knock him. I can tell it's not that. I mean, I collect Eden Zero regularly, so
See, and Eden Zero is, oh boy, it is
yeah.
dark.
It is. I think it's really good.
I For those of you that have never watched me before, I was one of the first people to start reviewing Eden Zero on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
And I will stand by the fact that I said that this is a much better story than Fairy Tail.
Yeah, I see a ton of similarities, but for my personal enjoyment, I can say I enjoyed way more than Fairy Tail. I've only watched like the first 25 episodes of Fairy Tail, and it was a while ago, and I was like, this just is not a series for me. But Eden Zero has me way more hooked.
It like the very first chapter starts off with everyone that he knows dying.
Dude, it's so sad.
And you're just sitting there like you're like, okay, he's gonna leave, he's gonna get a happy farewell. No, everyone is
No,
dead, and he doesn't know
yeah,
that they tricked him into leaving. I was like, holy
yeah,
shit. Like
I know it's so sad. Yeah, they like try to pretend like they want to kill him just to get him
get
to leave and grow. So
and
sad.
and you just sit there and you're like, what? And then
You're like,
everything
it's so
flicks, and then
nice.
it ends, and they just sit there and they just say goodbye, Shiki. Like we love you, we miss you, and they all just drop. And
Yeah,
I'm just like, oh god. I was like, my emotions are gone.
I know. Yeah, he gets a good grip on your emotions from the jump.
And that's I think the difference between Fairy Tail and Eden Zero. Fairy Tail, the first chapter opens up and it's Lucy and Natsu fighting against a weird kidnapping guy.
Yeah,
There's like no sadness there. It's just weird kidnapping
yeah,
guy destroying a town. Back to the thing. Eden Zero starts off, oh, we're like, girl comes to explore a kind of rundown world.
got a
Then,
bumper YouTube
yeah,
channel.
bumper YouTube channel. Then everybody dies. Everybody
Yeah,
dies.
everybody did.
And it was just so interesting to watch the series. And then, what volume are you on right now?
I am on. So I haven't touched it in a bit. I'm on volume 4. I'm pretty sure. So I know they have the engineer. I'm pretty sure that's his role.
Yeah, the blonde guy,
Yeah, the blonde guy. They have him. They've introduced the
Nino.
like queen villain in the
Oh,
uh
Elsie Crimson.
yes, yeah, yeah. What are you thinking? Am I in
I
a good area?
I think you're in a good area, and it only gets like more emotionally dark from there.
Yeah, it's got a great. I think it's got a great blend of humor and weight. I would say.
The humor is really good, and I was just talking with again that man and his
Hmm.
manga. It feels like Mashima at certain points in time just wants to draw an ecchi manga, and he lets the plot get in the
Yes.
way, and you're like, okay, buddy, you can.
Yeah.
Like there are certain points in Eden
There-
Zero where they're in a bathtub and like taking baths.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Clearly,
okay,
just a bastard.
I'm like, do we need this like right now, or can we
Yeah.
like pull back just a little bit? And
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's like a clear like Lucy like panty shots. Like okay, do we
I'm,
really need this angle?
I'm like, oh no. But
Come on, I'm fighting for you.
we
I'm
all
fighting
know
for the.
that's the next one on the conversation schedule list for MangaTube is
Yeah.
fan service. I think we're
Oh
coming up on
yeah.
that one. Don't you worry. Don't you
Yeah,
worry.
there'll be some controversy around that. Should you feel bad for reading fan service?
And I already have my video made. I'm just gonna keep
Yeah,
every
yeah,
single time that we have
it's ready.
like our discussions that we have, like that the community has. I'm never gonna remake a video like that. I'll just keep publishing the one that I made before because my opinion probably won't change
Yeah, because the same topics are going to cycle as
every
more
single
YouTubers
time.
come.
Like Simply G was completely correct. She's like, we don't next. I
Oh
think
yeah.
next one. I think next on the list is genres. I think that's the next one on the list. We haven't had that one this year, have we?
No, we haven't.
No, and I think
Dude,
that's next.
I gave into the scans one because I was like, man, some of these takes are just so bad. And then this most recent haul one started. I was like, you know what? I'm done. It's cleared the cycle, and I'm not feeding into it anymore.
It's the scans one is hilarious because
Yeah.
I've straight up made videos. I'm like, I don't care if anyone reads scans or not. Like, it's your
Yeah.
own decision. Do what you want. Like, don't lie to yourself. And it was really, really funny because the conversation, I think, this time around started because Ellie and I originally made, we talked about it a little bit on our podcast, and she made a tweet about it. Like,
Yeah.
3 weeks before the whole conversation started about, is getting library books the same as scans? Or no,
Yeah.
is buying used manga the same as reading scans? She asked that
And
question. And I was like,
uh,
and that's we kind of talked about that a little bit, and I was like, to me, you're not paying the artist. Somebody's already bought the book, blah blah blah. You're supporting a different industry for sure, and you're supporting
yeah, yeah.
but it was such a I was like, "Oh my god, I
Not
don't want to
again.
get involved."
Yeah. And the thing is, it's everyone tries to like not everyone, but a lot of people are trying to take like the moral high ground and be like, you shouldn't read scans, but that same person will go and maybe go to McDonald's, ask for a water, get a Sprite, or maybe they'll like download popcorn time or something to watch a movie or a TV show without paying. There's just like, or like maybe they'll like use their mom or like their cousin's Netflix or like their friend's Netflix. There's just like that. So many people pointing fingers, but like could clearly have it pointed back.
And
I'm just
then
like, just do what you
and
want.
then there's me who's just like, I'm not going to tell you where to read scans. If you're going to be a pirate on your own. I
Hey.
like I'm the least advertiser friendly because I'm the one who openly admits, I'm like, yeah, I read scans all the time.
I mean, everyone does for the most part. I'll say,
And if you don't, that's awesome. And
yeah.
if you truly believe that people are not good because of it, that's fine. Like, that's good.
You better have a clean slate though.
You
That's what I'll say to that. You better not have
Dirt will
one
come out
spot.
eventually. But like what
Yeah.
Zach did, I really appreciated. I really appreciate the fact that he made a website for people to go try to find manga
Oh
for
yeah,
free. I think that's how you change the mindset. Like,
yeah,
show people where they can either read it for free or read it for a very, very, very discounted price. Like, that's
yeah.
kind of how you make this change.
And I really respect Zach's standpoint that he takes on it. He because reading scans is objectively you're reading something that was stolen. You can to say that someone is a bad person for doing it. I think that's a dumb take, but we can all be objective. Stealing taking Sprite from when I ordered a water, it's not going to affect anybody for the
Yeah.
most part, but it is ethically theft. So he takes that standpoint saying it's wrong, how it hurts the industry, but he also gives people, he's not just saying you're bad, shame on you.
And not
He's
giving people
making,
solutions.
he's making a solution exactly.
And that's, I will always stand by. That's why even like I'll even jokingly like I made a fake sponsorship video where I like talk about it because I genuinely believe that's a great way to go
Yeah.
about it. There are certain series that I'll never be able to read legally in English. Like Hajime no Ippo will probably never ever 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 be legally available in English. And I
Kingdom.
accept that. Kingdom. God damn it, Kingdom should be
Yeah.
like certain things like that. And then the biggest problem with my biggest problem with the people who argue against scans is when they say, but there are a ton of series in English that you can read anyway, so why would you go and read the series that you can? I'm like, but some of the greatest series of all time aren't translated.
Yeah. Yeah. There's, I think, there's two standpoints you can take. The one of like what is ethically right and wrong, which like, at the end of the day, even if it's not serialized in America, reading a scan is theft.
Yep.
But there's the moral standpoint, which is like no one should be pointing fingers because at the end of the day, everyone does something or has done something that could be pointed as ethically wrong. So just just who cares? Just let people do what they want to do.
Do you use your blinker every single time that you make a turn?
Yes. Yeah. Totally great point.
And
Have you driven ever with your car past its inspection date? Have you? Yeah. Have you ever got 5 over the speed limit? So many things like that. Never. I'm clean. I'm clean.
I'm clean. Never done that. No. Oh no.
BS.
But like I will always say, I think these conversations are important to have.
Yeah.
because they help people make informed decisions about the content they want to consume.
Yeah.
And I think that it, I enjoy these conversations, no matter which side you're on, as long as you're having a respectful discussion, like we
Yeah.
have with the scans, like we have with the manga halls. I think the
Mhm.
discussion, the first the first big discussion that I remember about it was last year with Alex and I
Yeah.
both making video. By the way, that was totally coincidental. Alex and I both made videos about manga halls like a week apart, and neither of us planned
Yeah.
it.
Same time.
And then everyone was started to have a conversation about it, and I was like, "Oh, thank God!"
Yeah, that was a huge. I remember that was a huge combo last time.
It was. So I'm gonna see. I'm gonna. I don't think it was as big this time because that
No,
started some major fallout.
it did. It really did. I remember that was like every live like that's like when the dad cast was still around. Everyone was talking about it there. Like everything was going on.
It was. Yeah. 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 And
Yeah.
that's when I like right after I made that video is when I took my like 4 or 5 month sabbatical from
What
creating.
you need to do? Like, why did I allocate so much of my energy to drama about reading Japanese
I was like,
comics?
I was like, I'm done. I needed to take a break. And I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest here. This year has not been easy, like
Yeah.
emotionally.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean,
Oh,
yeah. It has. It has been tough.
it's,
And I thought you made a good point earlier. You know, one, the conversations are good to have, but two, you hit on the respectful aspect. And we really live in a world where it's like you either agree with what I say or I hate you.
yeah.
And it's
Welcome.
like,
It,
yeah, we're such a small community that we should really, set the example of how like open, honest conversations where you're empathetic and listening to the other person. That's what leads to change, not you know, just shame coming at, attacking people with different points. And I feel like a lot of people have done a good job. I've seen a lot of hate, especially from On the Shelf's video, which is like, dude, it's such a simple take, but people want to take his head off.
and it's the other thing that bothers me is being completely honest. MangaTube is not that toxic.
No.
Everyone's like, "Oh, it's a toxic community." I'm like, "It's not that toxic, guys. Like, calm down. We're not sending death threats to each other. We're like, I don't
Yeah.
like you,' and then we don't talk to the person ever again. It's fine."
Yeah. There's definitely been some bad fallouts that have been like, wow, this is intense, but it's not toxic. Every community is going to have some rebuttal and disagreements and arguments, but to say toxic is extreme in my opinion.
Strong words
Yeah,
from strong people. But we are
yeah,
reaching the end of the manga club. We've actually been going for over an hour, if you can
yeah.
believe that.
Dang,
I know,
quick
right?
hour.
Time flies by when you're having a good conversation. So it is
Agree.
time for the two questions at the end of every single manga club. One is serious, one is the random question of the day. And we're
Okay.
always gonna start, like always, gonna start off with the serious question. And
Let's
what
hear it.
I want to know from you is I kind of ruined it earlier, and I asked you what your three favorite video games were, so I have to come up with a new serious question because that was my one. It just worked out well. What do you think the future of your channel looks like?
The future of my channel. I think the future of my channel, the two big things that I really am striving um, for my videos is one, just it's a simple answer, but overall quality. Like I want better shots. I want better content in general. I want higher quality, and two, I want more um, not necessarily philosophical, but I want more like introspective discussions for my videos. I want to talk about stuff that's not as this is good because of X, Y, and Z. I want to talk about stuff that like digs into one, like why human thinking, and
Mm-hmm.
then the philosophical aspect to an extent, and then how that enhances a series, and kind of going deeper just past pros and cons of either a game or a series of manga. And so
And do you think does that tie into, because you said you went to college, right?
yeah, I went to college.
You mind if I ask what your degree is in?
Yeah. So actually, I studied supply chain in college.
Oh, you're gonna love what I do for a job then.
What do you do for a job?
I am now a supply chain coordinator.
Oh, nice. Very cool. What for what or I guess
A small meal prep company.
okay, yeah, I
By
guess industry would
small,
be
by
better.
small, I mean like we do 12 to 13 million dollars a year.
Wow.
So
Are we
small,
talking okay. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not gonna throw out any names, but very cool. Yeah.
Well, after the video, we'll talk because I'd like to pick your brain a little bit because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
got thrown into the position.
Cool, dude. Yeah, no, there's a lot. It's so interesting because you will touch supply chain every single day without knowing it. So to actually get your hands dirty with it and learn about it, it's like, wow, this so much goes on to get this pack of gum to my hands.
It's insane. Like getting
Yeah.
to see the back end now, like the fact that we'll talk about this after.
Yeah.
We'll talk about we'll geek out about supply chain after. But now for the random question of the day: if you could cosplay perfectly as any character, who would it be? You don't get their powers; you just get to cosplay as them.
I can cosplay. Well, it'd have to be a character that I think looks the coolest because I want to cosplay to look cool, and that would have to be Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh, you know what? I think you could pull that off.
I think I could too. I think he's one of the coolest looking characters in the anime.
He's just
I
like
just always look how he looks.
he's so baller. He's like, "What's up?"
Yeah, he's so bad. I love the green jacket. Love the hair. He just like got very '90s aesthetic, but he's also a beast.
He's got
And
that
I love.
swagger.
He's got the swag. Yeah, to say it with no better way. He's got the swagger.
So let everyone know where they can find you and kind of what you have coming up, some videos that you have coming up on your channel, because you will be
Yeah,
linked in the description down below. This video, should everything go right, will be coming out on the 28th of September. So
cool, cool. Yeah. So yeah, my YouTube channel is Sam Sidequest, and that's true for my Instagram and Twitter. Twitter, I post more discussion based tweets, obviously, and then Instagram, I like to take nice aesthetic photos of what I'm reading, what I'm playing. But yeah, you can find me there. I'm pretty active on all my platforms for the most part. And upcoming videos, I got typical manga videos. I'm hoping to knock out a Doctor Stone review soon. That hopefully will be up by the time this is posted. More hauls, more video game reviews, and um, discussion based around those things. So yeah, I appreciate the having me on, Lo.
absolutely. And Sam's channel, all of that stuff will be linked in the description down below. So please go like and subscribe to everything that he does because you know what we're here about here. We're about that positivity. We're about that manga club. And you guys know where to find me because you're obviously here watching this. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you already are not, because we have manga, anime, otaku, and just general discussions here on this channel, which I love. So for everyone new and old, welcome and welcome back. It's your boy Lohali, and I will see you next video.